Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of whatever this is called. Still haven't come up with a name for it yet. Honestly, I should probably do that. Name show. Hope you guys had a really good week. First of all, I want to give you an update on Planty. So since we last spoke, I'm happy to report that Planty looks exactly the same, except he's a little bit better here, and so I have an idea. I'm gonna get rid of some of these guys because I really don't think that these are helping him at all. Then we'll give him another drink of water, and then hopefully he will be on his way to a speedy recovery. Let me find a table. This is a lot of work. Okay, not sure that was worth it. While we're giving Planty a little bit of a trim, I want to tell you guys about some of the fun things that some of our friends did this week. I asked a few of you what were some fun things you did, and let's see. Our good friend Sophie said she had a game night with her family, which is cool. Knowing Sophie, she probably won all of the games. Jason Reed went fishing. I don't know if they caught anything. Jace didn't tell me, but let's just imagine that they caught a bunch of really, really big fish. Jenny went storm chasing with her brother. The storm on Thursday night was insane. And some people actually said that they got hail at their house, and I don't know if you did, I didn't, but the thunder was really loud. I was actually sitting in this room, and when the thunder was really loud, I jumped. I'm a grown up, but it still scared me. Cassie and Ty went to Cassie's dad's house and spent time with her dad. Makes a lot of sense. They did puzzles, they went on walks, they watched movies, and they cooked a lot of really good food. And they didn't share any of the food with us, but that's okay. We still love them. And lastly, I talked to our good friend Jacob, and Jacob went to Bigby and he paid for somebody in line behind him. Now, it wasn't me, which makes me a little bit like, okay, Jacob, but I'm really, really grateful for you, Jacob, and the fact that you did that. That's really, really nice of you. You guys are amazing, and I always want to know how you're doing and the good things that are happening in your life, so feel free to always text me and tell me. Otherwise, I might text you, and then I'm going to tell the whole world. Okay, so Planty is a little bit less pathetic looking than he was before, which is good. This is what we cut off of him. Let's just cast that into the wind. I'm gonna have to pick all that up now. Here we go. Okay, he's more hydrated than I am at this point. So we just finished week 2 of our Faith and Fear guide, where we learned about God cares, and I'll show you guys what my notebook looks like. I only have one notebook today to make my life a little easier. So this is this week. What I did, you can see I wrote a little bit more than other weeks. I didn't do day 5 yet, so I've got to do that one today. One of the stories that we really liked, that I really liked, and I want to share a little bit more about today is the story of Israel being freed from Egypt. The people of Israel were slaves in Egypt for a really, really long time. And finally, they were able to escape. They were able to move from the bondage that they were in into freedom. Moses, this man Moses who's been chosen by God, leads Israel out of Egypt. But as soon as they get out of Egypt, the Egyptians suddenly think, oh my goodness, why did we let them go? Because they've been doing all of our work for us. We need to go get them and bring them back. And Israel's like, no. We are gone. We gone. As they're running away from Egypt, they come to a bit of a difficult situation, and that difficult situation is a large body of water. And so if you can imagine, there's this group of people standing looking at the Red Sea, and behind them they hear these chariots of the Egyptians coming towards them, and they realize they have got to trust God or allow themselves to be killed by the Egyptians. And that's where we pick up our story in Exodus 14, and we'll start by reading at 13. Moses answers the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You only need to be still." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them. And I will gain glory through Pharaoh and his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. Men's is not a word. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. It's insane to think about walking up to a body of water and having it part so much so that you get to walk through the middle of it on dry ground. Like, think about if you walked up to Lake Michigan and that happened. How would you feel? I'd feel kind of terrified. Like, I'm not walking in the middle of the lake only for it to come crashing down on me and I'm gonna die. But what God was saying to Moses and to Israel was, I care about you so much that I'm not going to let you die because the Egyptians are coming for you. So I'm going to make what is impossible possible for you by opening this water up and allowing you to walk through it, not with 3 inches of water on the ground, not with a foot of water, but completely dry ground. And so Israel had a choice. They could let Egypt get them and they could die without ever getting to be completely free, or they could walk through the sea, even though it was a little bit scary and even though it required faith. And so in that situation, Israel chose faith instead of fear. They chose to say, I believe what God has said is true. And so they're able to walk through the sea completely on dry ground. And as soon as Egypt goes in, the Egyptians go in after them. God sends the water crashing back down, and Israel never sees the Egyptians again. Interesting part about this story is that, we talk a lot about faith and we talk a lot about how we just need to believe God's going to do things for us. And God does do things for us, and I completely believe that, but we have to put ourselves in Israel's shoes for a second and think about how terrifying it probably would have been to walk into that water. How, I'm gonna have faith, but it's still scary for me to do this thing. I'm gonna believe that God is doing what he says he's gonna do, but it still takes something on my part to get through this water. I have to take a step. And that's why God says to Moses earlier on in the passage, why are you sitting there asking me to do something when I've already given you a path? Walk forward and I will make possible what you think is impossible. God is asking us to move somewhere in faith. And sometimes we wait for everything to be perfect. We wait for things to be clear. We wait for a super, obvious, incredible moment where we're just like, and God certainly does open up doors and open up situations and bring people into our lives to help us to do things that we couldn't do on our own. But sometimes also we need to take that step forward. And it starts with us asking God, where do you want me to move? And where do you want me to stay? Where are you asking me to make a phone call or text a friend? Where are you asking me to change a habit in my life or to start growing closer to you? And where are you asking me just to rest and not try and push things and not try and make things work the way I want them to work? And when we ask God those things, he's gonna tell us, and then we get to do what he's asking us to do in faith rather than in fear. I love this guide. I'm learning a ton. I hope you're learning a lot. And if you ever have any questions about anything that we're reading or you want to read together, feel free to text me or text any of our leaders. We would love to hear how it's going for you. Okay, before we go, I have one more update. Quinn just texted me and said this past week when it was really, really nice out, she and her family were outside and playing soccer and Quinn was painting. I'm really excited to see what she painted for me. I'm assuming that's what she was doing. She was probably painting me a picture. As always, we love you guys. We're here for you. We love you and we hope you have an amazing rest of your week. We'll see you next time.